Timpone.
Hey, what's going on, Jeff? It's Ryan.
Oh, hi, Ryan.
How long have you been shaping?
Built my first board in 1968. Professionally shaping since about 75.
Where are you from and where's home now?
Born and raised in L.A. area. Now I live in Haiku, Maui. That's where my shop is as well.
Who do you have glassing your boards?
It's my son Nicholas right now, and he's doing such a wonderful job. I can't do it without him.
How do you measure surfboard value?
By longevity, by just, visually. They look good. They usually are good. And I'm talking about the foil, the outline, all the curves fitting together. I would rather my customers come back in 2 years and be stoked that their board lasted so long than they come back in 3 months and say it disintegrated.
What's the first thing you check when QCing your boards?
Just the overall feel. Check the edges, and Nick has gotten to be such a good sander that he gets all of the stuff that I put in the shape right back in the board.
Do you order custom blanks?
Occasionally. So I've been ordering some blanks with colored foam, some blue, some red, some yellows, and they just turn out, they look really nice. It kind of brings a warm, fuzzy feeling to me.
What's your P to EPS build ratio?
I'd say we're about 60-40, mostly polys.
Who's been giving you feedback on your boards?
Mostly my son Nick. We're working together on some stuff because he grew up surfing around here, and Maui has been and always will be a hotbed of surfing. There's so many good surfers here. So he grew up being pushed and pushed and pushed. I've got a young man, Dylan Sloan, who lives in Huntington Beach, who's doing quite well on the local circuits as far as he's on the Huntington High Surf team. He gives me pretty good feedback, and mostly just my customers.
How close do you keep your eye on surf contests?
I love watching the contest. It's a great evening distraction when I get home. If they're on the West Coast or even on Oahu, I can watch it on whatever the channel is on the TV. The surfing is phenomenal. I could never have imagined as a youngster even the way they surf now.
Custom board versus stock board off the rack.
We're doing 95% custom. I love making stock boards. If I get a wild hair and I got a blank, I'll just mow one out. Because I do have maybe like a 10-board inventory now, which is something I never had.
What do you think about board reviews on the internet?
I don't necessarily pay attention because it's usually somebody who's being paid to do it to either pump somebody up I've never watched one of those stab in the dark or either those kind of things. Most of the ones I see are a guy standing there with a board on a rack and he's kind of pumping it up. So I don't pay that much attention to those kind of things.
What's something most people don't know about Jeff Timpone Surfboards?
We're pretty transparent here. You're seeing it all over Instagram.
Who's your stab in the darker shaper? And what I mean by that is who is someone that who can build a really good performance shortboard that deserves to be on that show? And maybe they're more reclusive, maybe they're more introverted, but who's someone out there that you would love to see a pro rider get on their board?
There's a guy here, Sean Ordonez, and he's had Albie Lair, and Sean does little bits of everything, and I think that's what I like about his style. And he builds a lot of guns for Jaws, and they're really beautiful. And he does all the glassing himself. They're very unique boards. There's several people in Hawaii who build great boards, Pat Rawson, Chuck Andrus, Matt Kinoshita. There's a bunch of guys here that are building beautiful boards.
What's the craziest custom board order?
Well, recently I had one. I think it had every bell and whistle that I've ever put on a board. It had triple stringer, then it had nose and tail blocks, then it had a magenta tint bottom and rails. It had a kind of a masking tape tan airbrush on the deck, and then it had a fabric inlaid into that. So I don't know what else I could have put on it. And the board turned out beautifully. It was a great looking board. It was was almost overkill, but he was happy with it, and I'm stoked we got it done and it turned out good.
Do you have anything new in the works?
We're working on some stuff right now. I was in a pretty good automobile accident a couple weeks ago, and my left arm got kind of messed up. So we're trying to do some work with one of the guys that has a CNC machine, putting some of the designs on there. Because up until now, I've kind of prided myself on being able to hand shape all the boards, but the doctors are telling me I'm in for a bit of a recovery time. So I don't know exactly how long, what they're meaning, but can't wait to get back in there and go back to my hand shaping.
How many boards would you say that you've hand shaped?
Somewhere in the region of about 35,000.
Wow. Jeff, I'm going to end with some word association. I'll say a word or phrase, and you just say the first word or phrase that comes to mind. Greg Chaney.
Wild card.
The Brotherhood.
Best place I ever worked.
Wade Easterling.
Solid.
Rush Randall.
Very unique.
Sustainable Surfboards.
If it lasts longer, you're building less boards and you're throwing away less stuff and you're using less materials.
Towboards.
Fun.
Haiku.
Heaven on earth.
Well, Jeff, thanks so much for your time. What's the best way to get someone on Jeff Timpone Surfboard?
DM me on Instagram or call me at 808-280-7635.
Right on, Jeff. Thanks so much.
Okay. Aloha.
Bye-bye.